the road we go.
Yeah, get the fuck out of that asshole.
Yeah.
Look, there's grass. When's the last time you saw that?
So remember that I didn't have a memory card when I first got this game, so I didn't actually get out of Midgar for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So when I remember it was the summer after 3rd grade, I finally got a memory card and was finally able to save my progress, which was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You mean I can turn it off and keep playing later?
There's not like a passcode to get me to that level?
Yeah. See, Crash Bandicoot, the other 2 games that I had were Crash Bandicoot 1 and Jurassic Park The Lost World, which I feel like were 2 of the last games to employ a password system. So I was able to play those games and make progress, and it was all fine, but no fucking password here, buddy. Too many variables, I guess.
I like how this town is so fucking Bavarian in its design. It looks like a little German like town with the way everything looks on the outside, and it looks nice.
Yeah.
What a nice change from everything made out of scrap metal and corrugated tin and
Well, exactly. You've been in the slums this whole time, which is just made out of garbage.
it's like, oh, did you know people can live outside of there? It's actually nicer. It's better.
It's older than me. Hardly ever talked about himself. It's pretty attractive, really. Had that long, flowing silver hair. Oh, man.
He never had to talk about himself because everyone else talked about him.
Yeah. That's Sephiroth's biggest advantage, isn't it? Wouldn't that make dating so much easier if just everyone already read about you in the paper and just knew?
I heard you have a big sword. Oh my god, it's huge.
Can I see it? And then you pull it out and like, oh, I'm afraid.
5 minutes later, he's still unsheathing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay, you can touch it. Oh, can't. Oh, it's warm.
And Cloud, you were that fucking chump in the back, probably.
No, he's that one that he's talking to right now. Hey, how are you? Yeah, he was the one suffering from motion sickness. Yeah. That's something else I like about Cloud, a little humanizing element, is that he suffers from really bad motion sickness, which only comes up a few times, but whenever it does, you're like, oh yeah, he's a person. Everything okay with you? Buddy, who are you? Leave me alone.
Why are you talking to me? I always pictured soldiers to be just, I don't know, cooler, but you're walking around talking to people like an idiot. I'm gonna keep doing squats, see?
And then you play Crisis Core, and Zach is just always doing squats.
I'm always ready.
Like, Zach, what's your fucking problem?
I don't know, did some coke.
Zach, you stupid asshole.
Can't stop moving. Zach is a dummy.
He's an endearing dummy.
Yeah.
Crisis Core ended up being a lot better than I think I expected.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Is it raining or snowing? What is
It's raining outside.
Jeez, it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's weird. It comes through and just really, really pixelated PNG images. It's just...
Mr. Sephiroth. Brutal creatures. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that they don't have better safety features in place, considering that if a Mako reactor malfunctions, it apparently just produces fucking monsters.
Just fucking hell beasts come crawling out of the earth.
Yeah, that... You know, the Xerox machine at work, when something goes wrong, I hear a beep, beep, beep. My job would be a lot different if I knew something was wrong with the Xerox because a fucking hell beast was crawling out of it. It's like, oh man, I gotta fucking call the Xerox team down here to fix this thing. This is the sixth demon today whose head I've had to cave in.
You know, now that I mentioned how like Bavarian and Nibelheim looks, the name itself even like I could see that. Like,
well, it's more it's more Norse.
Yeah,
they take that a lot in this. There's Nibelheim. There's Midgar. There's the Midgar serpent. For some reason, they specifically drew from several specific bits of Norse mythology for names in here. 14.
Yeah. Why even bother? The rain's doing more than that, Cloud, you fucking chump.
Yeah. And Sephiroth is just 3067.
But my 14 really helped. No, it didn't.
Cloud, how are you a level 1 soldier first class?
I just got here. I just prestiged. Video game jokes.
I never understood prestiging.
It's just how big is...
But then again, I do replay Crash Bandicoot 3 every few months, so go fuck myself.
His strength is unreal, or maybe I was just really, really weak.
Maybe both. I don't know, Sephiroth seems pretty strong.
And I was pretty weak.
Pretty weak.
Teeth was just sitting there like, 14?
And I found you attractive?
I saw a boy do 34 to some soldier the other day with a rock. 14?
Granted, it was a critical hit, but still, that means that the base damage was 17.
One man walked into a door and did a good 50 to himself.
Granted, he was drunk, but still.
I stubbed my toe on the coffee table the other day and did 20.
14? Ugh.
Imagine if the world was always summed up in hit points,
Yeah.
like you're hammering a nail and you're seeing like little numbers tick off the wall as you're doing damage to the wall, and you smack your thumb and it's like 8, and you're just like, ah, fuck.
That'd make going to the doctor a lot easier, because they're like, well, how much pain are you in? And you're like, I'm in 35 hit points worth of pain. Oh, shit. And especially in this world where everyone maxes out at 100. I hate going to the doctor. Well, I've only been to the doctor a couple of times for any real reason, but I went and like, you know, how the pain that you're in, how would you describe it on a scale of 1 to 10? It's like, I'm enough that I'm here talking to you about it.
But not, I mean, I know, it's like, like, let me tell you, I know this hurts, but I also deal with it.
Yeah. Like, enough that I'm worried about it, but not enough that I'm incapacitated.
Yeah.
So 5? I don't know.
Can you show me video footage of what a 5 looks like? And it's just somebody like, ah! You're like, how about an 8? And they're just writhing on the ground.
Okay, so it's like a 6, I guess.
Yeah, those are always fucked up. Because I'm like, I feel like I'm at a 5, but I feel like most people would be like at a 7.
But I don't want to,
You
like,
know.
I don't want to, like, just make myself sound like a tough guy or something, and then the doctor isn't concerned, but there is something wrong, because it's like, oh, if it's not that bad, then it's not really a huge problem. Like, no, but it is a problem, maybe? Can you just take a peek inside of me?
Well, it's like, I think of what I consider a 10 for me.
Exactly.
And like, what is some of the strongest pain I ever felt? How does this compare to that? Well, this is probably like a 2 or a 3, but I still really fucking hurt.
Yeah. Again, enough that I'm in here talking to you, Mr. Doctor.
Dude, I gotta say, rat bite is like 9.
Really? Oof.
Oh my god. That was some of the... It hurt.
I guess they do have those sharp teeth and those really strong jaws.
And it goes straight to the bone, and
Oof.
they gnaw on you, and then your hand swells up, and then that hurts forever.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a prolonged 8 or 9.
I like this bit because you can explore this town as much or as little as you feel like. And there's some goofy shit you can do if you do want to explore. For instance, you can go to the Tifa's house.
Look at her underwear in the drawer.
Yeah. You can. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Actually, this is some rando's house. Fuck, I forgot to go in there when I get to this point later. And there's a Sephiroth clone that gives you an item. Shit. It's a 100% playthrough. You may as well stop watching, everybody. Claude, did you go into my house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just... Cled, did you find the drawer?
Did you go into my room? Yeah. Did you find the Mr. Funtime drawer? The guy that runs the general store. You know who that guy is? Mr. Hanger-On himself, Johnny.
Oh,
Tita, how are
Johnny.
you? I just got in the Midgar yesterday. All of a sudden, Nibelheim got together to welcome me. The only person we couldn't get a hold of was Clud.
He sounds like he's really going through
Everyone said
something.
he was really wasn't that close to us, so even if we asked, he probably wouldn't have come anyway. Well, enough about him. Midgar is really something, but to tell the truth, I feel so behind on everything, so out of it. Even the rooms of people in the slums are clean. Right now I'm living in the slums, so I plan to move to a really nice room like the ones I've seen in magazines, which I make some money. Yeah, we all have that, don't we? That dream. That's right, I still haven't found a job yet. I lied to my parents and told them I found a great job with Shinra Inc. I wonder if it's too late to go back. Sometimes I think I should have taken over my parents' store.
You should have.
Because there was some stuff about me. I just made it to Midgard, but all I think about is Nibelheim. Hey Tifa, is that stupid old water tower still working?
I peed in it once.
Was the old man at the inn doing well? My parents sell the shop every day?
I peed
Have
in
any
them
monsters
once, too.
attacked? How are you, Tifa? Feels like I haven't seen you for years. We were all talking about you last night. Everyone likes you, but because everyone idolizes you, I couldn't very well stab them in the back.
What does that mean?
I always acted cool, but actually, I was just afraid of being jilted.
What does that mean?
Wow, if I keep writing like this will become a love letter.
What a loser!
Yeah, Johnny has a big... Well, I shouldn't call a man a loser for this, but Johnny has a big unrequited crush on Tifa, but from the way that... Orthopedic underwear.
Ha!
But from the way that letter was written, it sounds like he was under the impression that Tifa had a mutual crush on him, and that when they were all talking about Tifa, probably just going like, man, didn't Tifa have the biggest tits?
And then Tifa found some like real cool people that could use magic and shit.
Yeah,
and then like her idea of what a cool guy was changed drastically.
Well, because they come from this town of literally 4 homes and an inn. So your idea of who's a cool person does change drastically as soon as you get to the city.
Tifa, remember me? It's me, Johnny. And then like Cloud comes walking up, and Barrett, who has got a gun for an arm.
Yeah, and like you want to commit some environmental terrorism.
And Johnny's just like, oh, I can't compete. He's got materia in his arm. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, I think what Johnny was saying is that he has an unrequited crush on Tifa, but he's under the impression that she had a mutual crush on him, so that when they were talking about Tifa, he didn't want to be like, oh yeah, Tifa and I, we're basically an item, because he would feel like that was stabbing them in the back.
I see. This is just some bad localization.
Not necessarily localization, just him being a little full of himself and thinking that Tifa was more interested in him than she really was.
It could have been better.
But also,
written.
it possibly could have been better localized, or just written in general.
I wanted to tell him all how close we were, but I didn't want him to get jealous.
I think that's exactly what it was.
I didn't want him to think I was lying.
Yeah.
Because you're so cool and hot. And the boobs.
Biggest boobs.
Don't forget the boobs.
I know you're only 16 right now, because apparently you can just get a job in the military at 14 in this world. That's fucked up. Hold on. Yeah. They're 16/17, which makes Tifa 15 or 16. Wait. Let me check my math. Yeah.
That was when Tifa was going through that hat phase.
Well, a lot of us have hat phases.
She's like, it was just big and cute. I saw it on Etsy, and well, I had to have it. And then once I got it, I realized how much it was, so I had to use it a few times.
Plus, I already bought the rest of the, Indiana Jones outfit. I mean, come on. It is sunny out, even though we're in the mountains and it's super cold. Doesn't it just look cold here? It looks cold.
Almost as if it's supposed to look cold, so when the fire comes up later, it's such a stark contrast. Maybe. I don't know. Which one were you, Cloud? Who's that guy in the back pooping?
It really doesn't matter because they're completely disposable, the guys in the blue uniforms.
Now, how is Tifa's memory fucked with?
It's not.
So she's...
This will become a little more clear later, but it's hinted at right now when they cut back to the room, is Cloud is telling this story, but it's not jiving with Tifa's memories.
She's like, you remember all that?
Exactly, and later on, she's like, it's weird because you remember things that you shouldn't remember, and you don't remember things that you should. And that very specifically, she's like, you shouldn't remember this, because she remembers Zack Sephiroth and 2 soldiers arriving, right? Cloud was one of those 2 just blue MPs in the back, but he had his helmet on the whole time. She couldn't see him, so he remembers all of this. Right now, he just puts himself in Zack's role, but Tifa doesn't know that. Cloud's not letting on to that at all, so she's having a huge problem right now back in the real world.
How come she never mentioned Zack?
Because she's afraid of what might happen to Cloud if she were to do that. Because Cloud is obviously... He's putting on a front.
How much of it do you think Tifa knows that Cloud is lying?
I don't think she knows that he's lying necessarily. She's just confused right now. She's trying to parse it and trying to make it make sense, but she can't.
And how many years ago was this?
4.
So it's like long enough for you to be like, yeah,
or 5, like 4 or 5 years. But exactly. And then there's this passage of time where it's like memories do get muffled, and also she suffered some huge trauma at the end of this, and that could have messed with her memory as well. Like, Tifa, more than anything right now, is just confused. Like, she could bring up Zack, Eris could bring up Zack. Eris obviously doesn't know that none of this happened the way Cloud is telling it, so she'd have no reason to do it. Tifa could go, it didn't happen that way though, and that would potentially shatter Cloud's psyche, but I think that's part of what she's afraid of, is like, well, how does Cloud know all of this? He wasn't there. As far as she knows, he wasn't there. And that's something, Seth, like I said before, he has the Masamune, by the way. That's his weapon. But that's, as I've said before, that's part of what Sephiroth uses to get inside Cloud's mind and get the better of him and take control of him. Because Cloud knows that none of this is real, but those memories are repressed, and so there's a disconnect in his own mind as to what's going on. And Tifa can't back him up. She can't go, no, Cloud, we were at the water tower, you were there, you were an MP, remember? Remember? Because he's putting on this front, and it took him a while to remember the thing at the water tower. And so later Sephiroth says that, Jenova has the power to alter memories. And so when you told him about the water tower, Jenova, the cells that are inside of Cloud, basically altered Tifa's memory to insert Cloud in there, and then built the memory in Cloud's mind. And then it was doing the same thing here, where, Cloud's telling the story that he shouldn't have known because he met Zack at some point or something, who knows. But because of Cloud's kind of fractured psyche right now, he's internally confused, and Tifa is unable to back him up because the story that he tells her here doesn't jive with her memories. But again, she's just confused because of everything else that also happened.
I wonder where the concept of this story came out of, because it seems like very personal. Like it seems like it'd be very hard to come up with this without having lived something similar yourself. So I wonder which part of the writing team, had come up with this because perhaps they experienced something similar. So that's a good fucking concept.
It is.
A good situation.
I mentioned that part of my debrief might be writing about how this game depicts roleplay and how it can be therapeutic and destructive. So it's possible that someone on the writing team utilized roleplay in their personal life as a means of coping with trauma or getting over, some fear or some hang-up, but then, personally took it too far, or they were just... Maybe they were leading a double life, and they were just lying to other people about what they were doing, and so over time, the other people in their life started to realize that certain threads aren't connecting the way they should, and so then they are trying to make all these things connect, but because they've been lying about it for so long, it doesn't... In their own mind, they're starting to forget, what happened and what didn't happen. Yeah. And so now their own story in their mind is starting to break down. That's also a possibility. I hadn't even thought about that before. Talking about Hojo, that asshole.
What do you care about science for, Sephiroth? You don't care.
Yeah, I just stab things with a big sword.
Right, I just really like stabbing.
And being a hot dude.
He's 17 right now?
Sephiroth?
Yeah, how old is he right now?
It's never explicitly stated, because even in the manual where it gives you everyone's bios for Sephiroth, everything is classified. But he appears to be in his 20s.
Yeah, because I guess it doesn't matter in anime land. You can have gray hair and be 2.
Exactly. Some people are just born with silver white hair.
I'm an old soul.
Yeah.
Cloud was really thinking for a minute.
Yeah.
Should I go?
This game, the way they're telling the story right now, it almost falls into the same trap that a lot of time travel stories fall into, where you think about like Back to the Future, where they show you the effects of changing the past, but then you run into the immediate problem of like, well, if you did that, then you wouldn't exist in the future, so you couldn't go back in the past and do that. Where if you're going to have events occur in one time, but then alter them later, you have to make sure that when you're initially depicting them, that they all jive correctly.
Yeah.
Here, they could have easily screwed that up, but when they show you these moments as they actually happen, they all make sense. Where they just put Zack in Cloud's place, and they put Cloud in the place of that soldier.
Yeah.
And suddenly you understand.
Yeah.
Like, this is the only one which is stretching it a little bit, because Cloud was outside right now, whereas Zack went inside and saw all of this happen. But Zack and Cloud were friends, and it makes sense that Zack probably told him this at some point, either that evening or after they both wake up later, years later when they both wake up. It makes sense that he was probably like, oh, there's some shit going down. I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe that happened in Crisis Core and I've forgotten. That's it? Like a little valve is loose and then you just have hell beasts crawling out? You should really reconsider how you build these
what
things.
What happens when something really serious happens? Like, oh, we have it's overheating.
Did you close the valve? I could have done it, but I didn't want to. What's weird about that is that you can't close the valve until you talk to him. And he asks you if you closed the valve. I haven't been able to use the fingerprint recognition on my phone for the past week because I had to move my puzzles, and they each have 8 thumbtacks in them. And I had to move them all twice in order to get them in that arrangement, which means I moved like 80 thumbtacks. And I developed a blister on my thumb where I put it on the thing.
I was using a heat gun at work, which is like a super powered blow dryer. It's really fucking hot. And I was holding it between my legs, and then it started to fall, and so I had to grab it real quick, but I grabbed the metal barrel. That thing is hot.
Oh, I bet.
So I had like a fucking Men in Black, like burn your fingerprints off kind of moment. And my fingers were all smooth and stuff afterwards. I was like, well, it doesn't really hurt, but it feels weird. I can't grip anything.
I had a similar moment when I was in boot camp, where immediately after a rifle range, when we'd been firing several hundred rounds of ammunition, we had to form up into ranks and then put our weapon in a certain position where we're holding it by our side. And the way you hold it like that, your pinky just touches the barrel. And it was still fucking hot from all the ammunition I had fired. It's like, I forget the position exactly, but I do the motion and I put it down and I go to rest my hand in the exact spot. I'm like, Now Sephiroth is having an existential crisis because he's like, is this how I was made?
Why do those monsters in there look cooler than me? Did you see that one? It looked so cool.
I look like an Iron Maiden album cover.
What if it becomes more prettier than me?
That's his problem. He doesn't want one of these things to be prettier than he is. What if their bangs are even longer?
What if their swords are even thinner and longer?
What if their shoulder pads are broader? What if they have a better color contrast than I do?
What if they have a deeper V?
Is that even scientifically possible? This moment was also in one of the commercials, which was weird. Because you just get a quick glimpse of this and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, for real?
That moment is something I would appreciate them expanding upon a little bit in the remake. Because it still doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me even now. Like, what was that thing? What happened with it? Why doesn't it come up ever again? I guess it would, Bill Corden.